Record-ology.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. I hope you're having an awesome week. I don't know if yours is crazy busy as mine, but it feels like a month since we last did a show. That, of course, is not the case. We have over 800 shows for you to watch, so you can watch one every single day. But new shows do go up Wednesdays and Sundays. So what we're looking at here are a pair of very special records. And I wanted to talk to you about them a little bit, and then we're going to listen to them, at least part of them. They are 16-inch. Yes, that's larger than a normal LP. AFRN, Armed Forces Radio Service records from the 40s. I believe this one is 49 and this one is 45. And I recently received these as a gift from my wife. So yes, I have an awesome wife. I mean, this is amazing to get, these as a gift. Before we talk about the history and whatnot, I want to show you just from a size comparison. Sometimes on camera, it just doesn't come through quite, the scale of things. So here is a 3-inch record, small. Here is a 7-inch record. And I'm going to pull out a 12-inch record. And this will really, I think, show you the size difference that we're talking about here. So that is a 12-inch record. As you can tell, 16 inches is a lot larger than anything else that I've ever had. And you may be saying to yourself, why are they this big? Well, a couple of things interesting going on here. First of all, when you look at an old record like this, especially the date range that I gave you, you may be thinking, oh, there's a shellac. Well, the first thing that may surprise you is that they're vinyl. In fact, they're a flexible vinyl. I'm not going to jostle them too much because of their age, but they are a relatively thin vinyl material. Obviously, these are way before high fidelity. These are mono, lo-fi recordings. They should be quite high quality recordings. That being said, the AFRN recording service was fantastic. Now let's take a look up close at this label. These are radio transcription discs. So these are basically what old-time radio shows were played from. And the same thing goes for, like Amos and Andy, Jack Benny, stuff like that. Some of those can be on acetates, lacquers of different materials, but it's the same basic premise here. So just like the V-discs, and that's another thing I really want to get my hands on is a V-disc. These are U.S. federal government property, or they were. Now it is no longer. You can buy these. It's not a problem. But these are federal government property, or they were, and they're radio shows for the AFRN, which served the troops. Now, this one is still, World War II era. The other one is post-war. The AFRN is still in business today, started in 1943. Now they are a very, top-of-the-line, multifaceted broadcast operation for the armed services. But as you can see here, 5/7 of 45, Louis Armstrong, Perry Como, Tony Martin. There's a Glenn Miller tie-in. Tony Martin sang with the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and Woody Herman. You can see U.S. government property, Purple Heart album, and some other information, property of the U.S. government, date information, very interesting data there in the dead wax. As you can see on this side, it says May 11th of 48. So this is actually going to be post-World War II. Harry James on there. Another Glenn Miller tie-in. Harry James has a great big band, or had a great big band in his own right, but took over the Chesterfield show from Glenn Miller when he went into the service. Let's look at the other record here. Frankie Carl, 24 minutes. And, there's a lot, a larger record holds, more record time. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to there. Frankie Carl etched into the dead wax there. You never know what you're going to discover in the dead wax. Very interesting. I haven't cleaned them yet, so I'm going to go ahead and clean them off camera. And then the only turntable that I have that will accommodate this large of a record is my LP7. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to clean these. I'm going to connect the LP7 in the office. We're going to take a look and a listen to these records. And then for my own purposes, I don't do this very often, but with unique content like this, I'm going to do it. I am going to do a USB backup. I'm going to basically rip these to digital, so I have that audio as well. I think, well, for the purpose of this show, we'll probably just listen acoustically to a speaker. I think that'll be sufficient, and it should be fascinating. Who knows what we'll find on here, guys, so stay tuned. Okay, so this will be interesting, and we are literally going to hear this for the first time together. So this is the LP7. We haven't had it on the show in a while, but I still have it. Still love it. It's a great turntable, and I'm glad I still have it because I think it's the only table that can handle a 16-inch record, and that it can barely do. Right now I'm going to show you a picture of how closely this record clears the lower part of the tone arm lift. It's a little gap. I don't think it was designed by any means to accommodate a 16-inch record. Then again, maybe it was. I don't know. But it barely fits. So when I was, positioning this thing and trying to get it ready for this, there was a couple of things I had to do. One of them was to lift the record itself. As you can see, I've got Judy Collins here. Now, Judy Collins has never given us better support than she has today because she's lifting up this record just enough to position that record in that little gap so that it will play. Now, there is a caveat to this, and that is that this record has a warp, no big surprise, but it's got a lip warp on the edge. It's pretty pronounced, and before I put Judy Collins underneath there, it was dragging a little bit, and I mean just very edge here, the running groove, and it would slow it down to the point where, we wouldn't get the correct speed. So that's why I lifted it up, just to give us that, 1 or 2 millimeters of space in there. But the lip being warped, now it kind of it hits on the top on every revolution. So fingers crossed that we don't have an issue with it slowing it down significantly. I thought about what could I possibly do. I tried putting on the record weight. I tried putting a bowl on top to sort of cup it into position, but it's such a large disc that it just wasn't practical. So, like I said, my plan is to do a digital backup of this record after the show tonight and never play these records again because they're historic, they're fragile, and they're very special. Similar to the way I feel about the Vita Nola, I feel like I'm a steward of these treasures. And I firmly believe that they are treasures. So I want to make sure that I do a good job of not damaging them. How do you store a record like this? The best thing I can think to do is to pin it to the wall, honestly. I mean, I honestly don't... I have little tripod stands, and I've been using these, but they take up a lot of space, as you can imagine, 2 of those going on. This is a happy problem, right? So let's go ahead and connect this. For the purposes of this video, we're just going to be using a Bluetooth speaker. It's going to be connected directly to the LP7, which is using the built-in preamp at the moment. And this will be pretty close to the microphone, so you should get pretty good sound. And again, this is all experimental. I haven't tried this out. Turn up the volume on this. And I think we're maxed out. Aux in. That's only about a foot from the mic, so you should get good sound. It'll be mono, but that's okay because the record's mono anyway. Now, all we have to do is turn on the turntable. Okay, that's 45. We don't want to do that. You can see that wobble. Down to 33. You can hear that little scraping noise. Gosh, I hope it still works. I really hope it works. But maybe I shouldn't turn the volume all the way up on this. Maybe I should go down a little bit. All right, moment of truth. Here we go. Oh boy, what a rough ride. Okay. That tone arm lift is dragging on it now. It's okay, that's not gonna work. Okay, I need to rethink this. Okay, everybody, we have to improvise, but that's okay. We are clever individuals and we'll make it work. So the record does indeed fit under the tone arm lift, but guess what happens as soon as you lower the tone arm? Didn't think that through. And I tried taking it off and it just wasn't coming off. So I'm like, what are we going to do? So here's what we're going to do. This should work. This should work. What we're going to do is we're going to move the turntable down here. Does anybody know where I'm going with this? We're going to put these blocks over here. And then it's Crosley to the rescue. That might surprise you guys. I'm going to take this Crosley Revolution, which has been in storage for a while. And we're going to put the stylus like that. This is a magnetic Groove Tool clone cartridge that is not a ceramic, even though it looks like one. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to spin the record with the LP7 and pick up the audio with this. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's start by cabling it. Okay. Let's go ahead and connect. Okay, we're going to start by connecting the line output. It is being run off of batteries at the moment. And the other end will plug into this speaker. Again, it'll be off camera, but it'll be in a good position, so you should be able to hear things well. Now, I may need to actually scoot this back just a wee bit. I'm going to put the tone arm in the up position so we get that gap. I think we still need Judy's support. And we'll put this disc back on once more. Man, I want to hear what's on here. Okay. So that's as close as we're going to get with that. We're going to keep our tone arm up and out of the way over here. We're just using the LP7 to spin it up. Okay. I mean, I can't think of what else I'm missing here. So, I guess I need to turn this on. That would be a good thing to do. Okay. Okay, and the platter is spinning on that as well. No, that's not touching the platter. It's just close, but I think we're ready. So let's. this is really an experiment here. So let's give it a try, and I'm gonna try and keep. Now the tracking angle on this is not going to be great, but even with it going that far, I'm not going to get all the way to the edge. So I'm not going to be able to do my backup yet. So that's at quite an angle there, but for our purposes, it should work. Okay.
Hi there. Are you all set to hear 15 minutes of request records? Well then, stay with me for a while, because I have lots of good music just waiting to be played. This is Francis Langford, ready, willing, and able to air these fine tunes on your Purple Heart Hour.
Awesome, it works,
Let's
you
get
guys.
rolling with a number for the fellas at the VA Hospital, Topeka, Kansas. It's Louis Armstrong and the boys to tell us about Joseph and his buddies.
Awesome.
In the Bible, there's a story.
Oh, Louis Armstrong. That's
Everybody
awesome.
knows. It's about Joseph and his brother and a suit of clothes.
Pericomo. It's by no means fancy, but it's functional.
Oh, that was swell. Now,
Those of you astute viewers will have noticed that we were pushing the tone arm through the groove, which is not ideal, so I didn't want to do that very much, other than to give us a little bit of a sound sample. And yes, I'm going to definitely have to wait on doing the backup of this properly, but at least we got to hear it, and the sound was exciting and fun and historic and super cool. Now, do any of you guys have any of these 16-inch transcriptions? For me, this stuff is holy grail stuff. This is what I'm dreaming about finding out in the wild, and I never come across it. If it wasn't for this gift, it wouldn't have happened. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this show. Happy record hunting. We will see you tomorrow.